the thinking caps on. I am your host, Kelsey, darragh, and this is Confidently Insecure, the podcast where we're absolutely sure we don't know everything. Hey, I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. We're obviously posting a day later because we celebrate the troops in this house, even though we might not stand for war or the people in our government running things or, you know, violence and all that jazz. But hey, I digress. How was your weekend? I had an eventful one. I ended up saving 3 stray dogs. That was an event. I was supposed to go camping, but found out the campsite we wanted to go to didn't allow car camping. So our plans ended up being laying on the couch doing nothing, which honestly, fine by me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get some stuff done, and honestly, I did. We did get a lot done, like, you know, ding dong housekeeping. Henny and I built a door for Hippo and the cats to be separated. We built a freaking door. Like, what? We went to Home Depot. We took measurements, and there's nothing more satisfying than when a DIY project goes according to plan, and it was great because you know what? The streets were kind of empty. Home Depot was the least busy I've ever seen it. Like, no one was, I just feel like everyone was away this weekend. And so I oscillated between being a little bit sweaty and using nails and hammers and binge watching the latest trashy Netflix shows. Let me tell you, there's one in particular called Cheat, Unfinished Business on Netflix, which is basically a reality show where they bring exes back together that have unfinished business. They all live in a villa. It's a UK show. I was like, I'm ready for some fucking trash. And y'all, it was really good. It was actually like free couples therapy. And I recognized so many different methods and patterns and like I was calling shit out before the therapist did about this person. And like, man, watching some of these shows really makes me feel grateful for what I've accomplished in my relationship journey. Because holy shit, you just see yourself in people, or you see old problems where you're like, God, the relationships don't have to be that painful. Like, as I've gotten older, and obviously with writing the breakup book, I've realized that there is a hardenedness you get with growing up and like clearing out old wounds, and there's just like patterns you will and won't have anymore and things you will and won't accept in relationships where you're just like, man, that shit was hard for a long time. So it was nice to binge watch that. And then the other one I'm watching right now is Wags to Riches, which stands for Wives and Girlfriends of Sports Players, based in Miami. And again, amazing psychological experiment to watch. So fascinating to see female friendships in that tax bracket and that lifestyle. Like, it was just very fascinating stuff. But I digress. We have a lot to get into, so I'm just going to get right to it. Today, we are talking about all of the phases of la period. Yes, I'm bleeding now, and I have a PhD in it because I don't know if y'all realize this, but I feel like everywhere all over my socials, I am seeing these viral videos go big about women teaching men about the phases of the cycle and like how you can take care of a partner, and realizing like how much I didn't even know about my own hormonal cycle. Like, I always knew women or people with uteruses differed from men because of our hormone cycles being in sync with our period, which is 28 to whatever many days, versus a man's cycle is 24 hours. Like, he wakes up, he uses his hormones, he goes to bed, he regenerates, he does that. But like, we don't operate on that. And like, man, I realized how uneducated I've been, even though I've freaking had a period since I was 15. I've frozen my eggs, I've made embryos, and there are still things I don't know. And I'd love to give a shout out, not sponsored, to my Aura ring, because this shit syncs up with a period app that I use called Natural Cycles. And it tells me, like, using my body temperature, or basal cell temperature, as they call it in science world, it tracks your cycle that way, and it tells me what phase I'm in. It's also how I track ovulation. And I just am like, damn, I really didn't know. Like, I've heard these names, but I didn't know what all the symptoms were. Like, I never knew my follicular from my fuck-you-ler phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't educated. So I'm going to be learning along with you. We're going to play a little bit of games. We're going to learn the phases, the symptoms, how to cope, how to track, and what your partner can do to be a better person to you while you're on your period. So let's get right into it. Okay, Bessies, get your periods ready. Strap on those pads. Saddle up on those tampons, because we're about to take a ride on this emotional tilt-a-whirl known as the menstrual cycle. That's right. This is for anyone who bleeds, okay, or has a partner that bleeds. I think we can all send this to our partners, or, you know, any dumb men in your life who still think the uterus is in your stomach. All right. Phase 1. Okay. We're going to start off hot. The menstrual cycle. The menstrual phase is day 1 through 5. And you know this one, okay? It's the murder scene happening in your underwears. It's Shark Week. Aunt Flo is in town. All the period metaphors. Red wedding. The purge. Let's see. Can I think of any more? No, that was it. I wasted it all. Okay. So during the menstrual phase, I just thought when we said the menstrual phase, that meant we had our periods. But like, it's so much more. What is happening with our hormones during this phase? Estrogen and progesterone, gone. Okay. Think of them like your emotional Wi-Fi, and they are just totally disconnected at this time. You are running off of like 2.4 gigahertz, baby. You're getting your bleeding, your cramps, your fatigue, your mood swings, your bloating, and this is a lot of where I am wrapped up with a heating pad on a couch, because of my insides feeling like there are tiny little Keebler elves trying to get out with their little razor pick hammers. The best self-care tips during these times, as we know, is rest. I think women, we've been led to believe that we are supposed to fight through pain, and especially during our periods, we've been just told we're supposed to go to work. We're just supposed to keep existing as if there isn't blood coming out of our bodies. But we have to remember, our body is literally during the menstrual phase shedding an organ's lining. Like, what? That's like something is literally sloughing off. So we have to remember to not fight it. Do the things that are going to make you feel good during this time, whether it's heat, you know, hot water bottles, herbal teas, like whatever you got to do to make yourself comfortable and not fight the pain and pretend like it's not there, the better. Like, I've definitely gone through phases where I'm just like, if I pretend it's not there, it's not happening. Eat iron-rich foods. This is where you need to have your steak, okay? And science says that sometimes chocolate and sweets can make you feel better during this phase. I don't know if it's actually good for you, but I think just hormonally, it can make you feel a little bit better. And I mean, you're already breaking out, right? So who cares if you have a little bit of sweets on the side? And also, don't worry. You can still have sex on this phase, the menstrual cycle. If you're bleeding, if your partner's into it, and they should be, because bodies are bodies and they're going to be doing the body thing. But now that I've said that out loud, if they're not about organ lining shedding, that's okay. Everyone has their preference. But I typically end up being with people that are pro period sex, and it's fine and healthy and safe to do so. So here's the hot partner tip, right? So when your girl is on her menstrual phase, remember day 1 through 5 of the cycle, you should be her butler. I don't know what other way to say it. I mean, be her footman, her emotional support gentleman. Bring the snacks, refill her water bottle before she goes to bed, come home with little treats, okay? Do not act like nothing's happening, because y'all will never understand what it's like to be bleeding out your organ linings. And I think I forget that. Like, y'all will never understand that. And the least you could do is acknowledge that it is happening and that it is painful, and it is something that we've been doing every month for a long period of time. Like, that's the bare minimum, is you could be like, ooh, I know that she's going through pain. I love this person. She's probably masking it because society has told her to. I'm going to bring her a little treat today. That's the least you can do. If you want to think of this as like a metaphor, I've put these all into like little categories. This is the winter of the cycle. Okay. You are meant to hibernate. You're meant to Netflix and chill. You're meant to go up in a blanket. You are meant to hibernate with salty snacks and a good Netflix series. Okay. So remember the TLDR of the menstrual phase, day 1 through 5, your hormone and estrogen, your hormones, which are your estrogen, progesterone, they gone. Your symptoms are bleeding, cramps, fatigue, mood swings. The best care, rest, comfort food, heating pads, sex if that makes you feel good. And for your partner, be her butler. Don't ask questions. That simple. Okay, moving on to phase 2. Now, this is days 6 through 14. So this is like a whole week out of the period cycle. This is called the follicular phase. And I always thought the follicular phase, just hearing it, I'm like, that's a bad thing because follicles are what? Not fibroids, but it sounded too sciencey to be acceptable and a good thing. But the follicular phase is actually a good thing, okay? We're alive, okay? She's growing. She's alive. She's stretching out of her sad little cocoon. All of a sudden, she's got energy. She's like, what if I started a small business and ran a marathon this week and suddenly I can work on the novel I've been putting off and I just have all this energy to actually do all the things I want to do? Well, baby, let's talk about what's going on with them hormones, kid, okay? Estrogen is starting to rise, okay? It's finally, here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. And FSH, stay with me now, a little sciencey, but that is a follicle stimulating hormone. While you've got this energy, is prepping your next egg, like a cute little like ratatouille chef in there. It's like cooking it up. It's got its little fucking spatula and egg beater, and it's like boop 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 boop. And these symptoms during the follicular phase are good things, right? It's more energy. It's clearer thinking. It feels like you've kind of had like it's that burst, that spark, that firework that's like, I'm going to get things done. Maybe your skin looks a lot better. It's a lot clearer. You may even be horny in like an intellectual way. I don't know what that means, but like conversation is stimulating. Like that's the thing that turns me on when I'm in my follicular phase is like a grind set mindset. Like I feel like me and my partner are both in this together, teamwork. So your best self-care tips for your follicular phase, okay, phase 2, days 6 through 14. This is the time to start new shit. And I know you're like, what are you talking about? But when I was looking at this from like an outsider's point of view, I was like, oh, wow, it is so smart to track your cycle phases because you can plan so much stuff around these phases, right? Like I'm not going to plan a marathon around the week that I'm bleeding. Like try and schedule vacations around your follicular phase. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know you have a tough thing coming up at work, like try and schedule it for a week where you have more energy, a clearer mind, et cetera, et cetera. So during your follicular phase, try and like launch the thing you wanted to launch or like start the new project or like get inspired. Things that aren't work related, like maybe you go on a date during the follicular phase, like take a class that you've always wanted to take, sign up for that weird gym activity you've always wanted to do. This is where you're like, I'm going to do it. Fuck it. I've got the energy. I've got the zest for life. This is also a good time to get a lot of like errands done. So I'm talking like your meal prepping, get your laundry, wash your sheets, do your hair care, do your full shower, shave all your bits and pieces. Cause this is when you're like actually feeling like this is like a morning shed for your whole body. Okay. So now we've come to the partner section. Yes, that's for you, partner, listening to this podcast because your partner definitely sent you this episode. During the follicular phase, you're going to want to hype your girl up. Okay. We want you to be our biggest cheerleader. You are the Jay-Z to our Beyonce. Maybe that was a bad example because he did cheat. Who do we even like anymore? Jesus, whatever. Compliment her, make her feel good. Don't just compliment her body, compliment her brains too. Like, our good ideas are good for a reason. When you ask us what we're excited about, actually listen also. As we know in Relationship Gottman Expert, they have said that the most successful relationships are about the moments where partners are actually listening to each other, that ask questions and actually pay attention to in the end. And when I was thinking about what season this was, when we're thinking about our cycles and our phases, this is like your spring, okay? You're blooming, babe. You are fucking girl bossing way too close to the sun, but we're wearing sunscreen. You're not having any meltdowns. We're going after it. We're grinding. We're getting it. All right. So that's the follicular phase, TLDR. Your hormones, your estrogen is rising, which explains why you have more energy. You're feeling creative. You're a social butterfly. The best thing to do, go out on a date, start a new project, get that big work meeting done. And if you're a partner, just be a fucking cheerleader. Be a good partner. Hype them up. This is like bestie mode. Okay. This is when we need our ride or die. All right. Now here comes the fun one. Phase 3 is ovulation day. That's right. This is around day 14-ish. And so this only lasts one day, which I find offensive because it sounds like the most fun part. This is when your body is like, hi, someone put a baby in me, even though you don't want kids. You definitely don't want children. But you're like, do I? Maybe I do. Because evolutionarily, this phase of your cycle exists so that we will procreate and carry on the human evolution. So at its like very core, even though you know you don't want a baby, your body has no idea. Your body's like, what are you talking about? This is like why the human race is existing, because we need to do this. This is our job, which we know is just all a patriarchal programming we've got to unlearn. So yeah, your body's just going to do this like musical fertility number, song and dance that they don't know that like no one's listening. You just got to let them do it. You just got to be like, yay, oh my God, go body, good job. And you're like, no children for me. Okay. So what's happening with the hormones that makes us so insatiably horny? Estrogen is peaking. Okay. If she was Molly, she's peaking right now. Your luteinizing hormone, or your LH, is spiking. And your body, remember that little ratatouille up there making a scrambled egg? Finally throws that bitch down. He's scooped it off the plate and he throws it down the hatch, and your body releases an egg like a fucking damn bingo cage. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like, okay, here we go. Which egg's going to come out? There you go. And if you're sperm, you're hoping to call bingo. But that's why you have to be careful, because you got to know when you're ovulating so that you don't accidentally. Okay, so what are the symptoms? How do we know that we're ovulating? Well, number one, you're going to be very horny. That's the easiest way to know. That's the most obvious. All those days where I was like, what is wrong with me? Now I know what was wrong with me. And it's a lot easier to track and notice now that I'm aware of the cycle. Also, your discharge is going to become more clear, even more like sticky and stretchy. Speaking of eggs, it's kind of like an egg white consistency. You're going to feel sexy and like magnetic, and like you can take over the world. Like you could seduce a traffic cone if you wanted to. I don't judge what you do in your spare time. Exactly, like your energy is going to be at its peak because your skin is glowing, you're feeling good, your body's doing what it's supposed to. And so the best self-care tips are going to reflect that, right? So if you have a big event, hit it on that date. If you have a big conversation, need to do it there. If you want to have a date night with your partner, this is where you're going to feel like the most lovey-dovey towards them. Or if you are out there and dating, this is a good night. You know what I'm saying? To schedule a date, as long as you use protection. Don't forget. If you're trying to conceive, which TTC, trying to conceive, I just realized. If you're TTC, yeah, you know me. This is your Super Bowl, baby. No pun intended. This is time to get down, funky town. So schedule that in. It's like a little window. Remember, it's only a day. So get it in there like swimwear. if that's what you're trying to do, if you're TTC. And remember that sperm can live inside the body for up to 5 days, but typically can last around like 3 before they, peter out. And if you're not TTC like us, make sure you wrap it up. Take precautions. Okay, stack it, wrap it, keep it moving. All right. If you are a partner during this phase of ovulation, do not waste her time. Okay. Do not leave those dirty dishes in the sink. Do not forget to take out the trash, because sex drive is up and it's time to get things done around the house so that you can make her feel good. Okay. It's one day out of the month. It's the least you could do. Put it in your calendar too. Me and the athlete share my phases calendar. You can do that on Natural Cycles. You can add your partner to see all your info. And I think you should do that. I think it's like $100 for the year for this, which is a little pricey for me, but it does get written off on my insurance. My insurance does cover it. So check out Natural Cycles. Respect the energy during this phase. Obviously, don't weaponize it if you're a man. That's important to state. Okay, and so if this phase is a metaphor, we're going with this being summer, okay? You're radiant. You're excited. You're wearing crop tops. You're glowing. Your mother nature is thriving and flirting, and you just want to be out and about like a little butterfly going from flower to flower pollinating. And when we get back from this quick break, we're going to talk about one of the most important places in your cycle. Oh, the luteal phase, or the luteal phase, depending on how you say it. This is day 15 through 28. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 2 weeks out of the month. So half of our month, we are in our luteal phase, which is like the dark forest. Okay? This is where PMS is rearing her ugly head. This is where bloating can happen. This is where we are crying because we saw a Purina commercial that was just a little too cute. So this is like what was crazy to me was like, of course, everyone's luteal cycle is going to be completely different. But the fact that it is 2 weeks long, when I've just been told my whole life that like PMS is the day before your period or a couple days before your period, that's wild. And it makes a lot of sense why people with PMDD really struggle. Because when this phase is happening, it's lasting and so much longer and is so much more in depth and has so much more emotion to it than I think any of us initially realized, because no one is telling me anywhere in school or growing up in the school of life that your luteal phase is as long as that is. So what is happening hormonally? Progesterone rises to prep for pregnancy. So remember, we're like, that's the goal according to evolution. But if you are not TTC, which I love this little term, is that something that already exists? Did I make that up? Someone comment below. So if you're not trying to get pregnant, that progesterone has to crash. And we've got emotional whiplash, baby. Okay. Estrogen dips. Everything feels like a bad idea. Life is too loud. The symptoms are like irritability, bloating, food cravings, acne, fatigue, anxiety, like your classic PMS symptoms. And honestly, for me, like mood swings, tiredness that could rival like a narcoleptic Disney villain. Quite frankly, your boobs can hurt, your jeans might not fit, your skin is turning on you. This is so wild to me that like we just exist in a world where this phase of our like month is stretched out to be this long, and we're like, I'm always wondering, why am I so tired? Why am I so grumpy? Why am I like, well, it's because we're basically PMSing at various like scales of the spectrum for 2 weeks out of the month. The best self-care tips during this time is magnesium. That will help you sleep. B6 and type of B vitamins and omega-3s, aka fish oils, can help all of these things, and it can help us get back to a feeling of more regulation. I've also been, this is a side note, been looking into beef liver pills. Beef liver being like the most nutrient dense supplement that is on the planet, and whatever. I'm not going to go on a side tangent, but I've been taking beef liver pills, and I think everyone should look into that. You also might want to like limit caffeine, limit your screen time in bed during these 2 weeks. Like maybe you only have to not sleep with your phone in bed for 2 weeks out of the month. That's kind of like a fun compromise, right? You might want to feel like less social, so don't overcommit yourself to things. And eating less sugar during this time can help you not feel so waterlogged and clogged. As a partner, okay, this phase is not time for logic, which I know from the outside might sound crazy. Like, what do you mean for 2 weeks? I'm just supposed to like give her a pass, but it's not necessarily that. It's just like, don't try to solve anything that's happening in this phase. Just try to support. That's the best thing you could do for your partner during their luteal phase. Ask how I can help is not necessarily the best thing to do, because that puts more emotional labor on them, and that will make us have to think more and feel more frustrated. Our mood is already clouded. Our brain isn't thinking clearly. The best way to be a partner during this phase is just to do the things you're supposed to do. Just show up. Don't overload us with tasks and activities. Remember, our bodies are literally going through hormonal crashes during this time. This is the phase also where anytime someone has thrown in my face, are you PMSing? Jesus. I usually have been. But don't fucking ask that. Because I don't want to know that it's that obvious that I'm being a bitch. You know what I'm saying? A metaphor. We've only got one season left, baby, and it is autumn. Okay. This is, everything is dying. The plants are brown. You're shedding the things you no longer need, except for your uterine lining. You will likely want to, make your tasks the lightest lift during this phase. And again, like, it doesn't have to last the whole 2 weeks in class. Everyone's different, but if you just are tracking these things, which is what I'm going to talk about next, it is a lot easier for your life to be like, oh, I'm just going to give myself a little bit more grace because I'm going through XYZ. So too long didn't read. The luteal phase is days 15 through 28. It's when your progesterone rises and crashes because there's no baby. You're having your PMS, your fatigue, your classic crying spells. Best care is to avoid trigger, eat magnesium-rich foods, and sleep more. You heard me, take a nap. And if you're a partner, do not ask how you can help or what's wrong or are you PMSing. Just do what you're supposed to do. Just show up and be there. So I've given you the 4 cycles, our 4 seasons, and I want to talk just about like what we can do with all of this information, right? Because if you're not tracking this, you're basically just playing a guessing game. So we've got options, right? Like, we're all tech girlies, we're all millennials or Gen Zers that understand how the interweb works. Go on over to your app store. I want you to download an app like Clue, Flow, Natural Cycles. Use your Oura Ring, use your Fitbit. I think even Apple Watch does it. And make sure, of course, you're working with an app that doesn't sell your information to the government, because I know that was a whole big thing during Roe v. Wade, et cetera, et cetera. I like Natural Cycles. These are your digital period personal assistants. Okay. So you're going to be logging your symptoms. You are going to track your period. It is going to in turn tell you what phase you are in. If you're using a device like my Oura Ring or an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or whatever, it's actually going to be measuring your body temperature. And that's how you also know what phase you are in. They are going to tell you when your predicted ovulation is. They are also going to tell you when you are most fertile and not fertile, so that you can be safe while having sex. And a lot of them, the apps, will send you actual reminders that these phases are coming up, which I love, because You know how you would get like those astrology app notifications that's like, you are a cunt and no one likes you. And you were like, Jesus, why are you reading me to filth? These notifications are a lot more helpful. It's like, be easy on yourself, or like, hey, today you're going to have a lot of energy. So why not like try that thing you've always been wanting to try? It's just better to know in a positive light than having the stars guessing why I'm crying at a Trader Joe's at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You can also track in your own calendar or like a journal. You can also, if you're a super witch, track your body symptoms. If you are that in tune, I don't recommend this, but you can even use like your discharge cervical mucus to know what phase you are in. If you are like that in tune, if you are, drop a comment below. Let me know how you do it, because I'm kind of fascinated by you if you are that in tune with your body. Okay, so now you are a little learned PhD period baby like me. We have learned about the menstrual cycle, the follicular cycle, your ovulation, and your luteal phase. And we are going to play a little game where I am going to give you a scenario and you are going to yell out in your, wherever you are, car, house, job. Don't be listening to this at your job. You're going to yell out what phase you think it is, and we're going to test our knowledge together. Okay, here we go. What phase are you in if you just cried watching a dog reunion video on Instagram and then screamed at your boyfriend for breathing too loud? If you guessed luteal phase, you are correct. Remember, that is that 15 to 28 day period where you have higher irritability, a low threshold for noise even. Did you know? You have your hormonal dips. You are a chaos queen. Okay, moving on. What phase are you in if you just reorganized your entire closet, made a new budget spreadsheet, and texted your ex just to prove you're thriving? Haha, who did that once before? Me. You are in your, drum roll please, can you guess? That's right, your follicular phase. So you've got that excess energy, you're feeling productive, you're feeling reborn, and you're a little slightly delusional. And we support you for that. All right, here we go. What phase are you in for $500 if you are horny, hydrated, and somehow glowing like you just got back from Italy, which I will be in next week? Did you say ovulation? Well, then ding, ding, motherfucking ding. And don't forget, during this phase, you are peaking your estrogen. You are peak fertility. You are just peak hot girl energy in general. All right. You already know I'm going to give you this one. What phase are you in if you feel deeply connected to all woman, especially Lana Del Rey and whoever invented my doll? If you said your menstrual cycle, you are correct. Remember, this is your uterine bonding and existential sisterhood vibes. This is where you're bleeding. This is Shark Week. Did you do good? How did you do? Did you get good points? Did you know all the cycles? Did you know this much about your period before this episode? Because I sure freaking didn't. And this is why we do this episode. This is why we do this podcast, because we're absolutely sure we don't know everything. And as bad bitch of a feminist as I was, I couldn't believe that I was still so clueless about my own period and body. So drop a comment below about, what's the craziest thing you did while you were in your luteal phase? How does your partner support you when you are in the menstrual phase? Do you feel horny when you're ovulating? Or are you someone that just, wants to be living in our follicular cycle all year long? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to send this to a partner who needs to hear it. And we will see you next week, confidants. Oh my gosh, I'll be in Italy, I think. Will I? I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to you from Italy. Okay, bye.